let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever spent time with an elderly loved one, maybe your mom, your dad, an old family friend, and caught yourself noticing little things, tiny behaviors, that just didn't feel right? Maybe they repeated the same story 3 times in one conversation, or snapped at you over something small, or maybe you caught a whiff of something that told you, deep down, they hadn't been keeping up with their hygiene the way they used to. And in that moment, you felt uncomfortable. You didn't know if you should say something. You didn't want to hurt their feelings. So, you stayed quiet. You smiled. You brushed it off. And maybe, just maybe, a little piece of you felt guilty afterward. If that's ever happened to you, you're not alone. Not even close. The truth is, aging doesn't just change the way we look. It changes the way we act, the way we think, the way we move through the world. Sometimes, it brings out habits. Little ugly habits, that no one warns you about. Habits that can push people away, habits that chip away at dignity, habits that make it harder for families to stay connected when their loved ones need them most. But here's the thing, it's not about blame. It's not about shame. It's about understanding. Because when you can recognize these changes for what they really are, when you can see beyond the surface, that's when you can show up with love. With patience. With real compassion. In today's video, we're diving deep into 12 uncomfortable, often unspoken habits that many seniors develop as they grow older. Habits that, if you're not paying attention, can easily be misunderstood. But stick with me till the end, because by the time we're done, you'll not only know what to look for, you'll know how to respond with kindness, with wisdom, and with heart. If you believe, like I do, that every elderly person deserves to live their later years with dignity and love, do me a favor, comment, "I'm here," down below. Let's build a community where no one has to navigate this journey alone. And hey, if you're new here, welcome. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to join us here at Elderly Wisdom Guide, where we talk about the things that really matter, the hard things, the beautiful things, and everything in between. Alright, let's get into it. Let's start with something you might have noticed before but didn't know how to bring up. Habit number 1. Neglecting personal hygiene. You walk into Grandpa's room. Maybe it's been a few days, maybe a week. You notice he's wearing the same shirt he had on last time you visited. At first, you think, maybe he just really likes that shirt, right? Maybe it's his favorite. No big deal. But then you lean in for a hug, and there's an odor, one that's hard to ignore. His hair looks greasy. His fingernails are dirty. Suddenly, you realize, this isn't about fashion choices. This is something deeper. You see, as we get older, things that once seemed simple, like taking a shower, brushing teeth, changing clothes, they can start to feel overwhelming. Maybe arthritis makes it painful to move around. Maybe memory loss means they genuinely forget when they last washed up. Maybe depression has crept in, stealing the energy they used to have for self-care. And here's where a lot of people get it wrong. They think, oh, they're just being lazy. Or worse, they get frustrated. But neglecting hygiene isn't about laziness. More often than not, it's a quiet cry for help. If you notice this happening with someone you love, be gentle. Offer help in a way that protects their dignity. Maybe set up a routine together, a gentle reminder system. Maybe get them soft, easy-to-wear clothes. Maybe even turn shower time into something cozy and special. Warm towels, favorite scents, little comforts that make a big difference. And listen, personal hygiene isn't the only thing that can slip away unnoticed. Sometimes, it's what comes out of the mouth that surprises you the most. Let's talk about habit number 2. Inappropriate or blunt comments. Picture this. You're at a family dinner. Everything's going great. Laughter, chatter, stories flying across the table. And then, out of nowhere, Your sweet, usually polite elderly aunt leans over and loudly comments on how much weight someone's gained. Or maybe she points out someone's wrinkles. Or makes an awkward joke that lands like a brick in the middle of the conversation. Embarrassing, right? You feel your face flush. You glance around, hoping no one takes it too hard. Here's the thing. As the brain ages, especially the parts responsible for social filters and impulse control, things start to shift. Those little internal brakes we all rely on, the ones that tell us, hey, maybe don't say that out loud, they wear down over time. It's not about them turning rude or insensitive. It's not because they suddenly stopped caring. It's because their brain is changing, in ways they can't always control. The best thing you can do? Stay calm. Redirect the conversation if you need to. If it's a one-on-one situation, gently remind them afterward. Not in a way that shames, but in a way that protects their relationships. Set loving boundaries where you can, but always lead with kindness. A little humor helps too. Sometimes laughing it off with love can save the moment for everyone involved. But sometimes, it's not the words at all that cause the most hurt. It's the emotions simmering just underneath the surface, emotions that bubble up when you least expect it. It's the emotions, the quick flashes of anger. The irritation over the tiniest things, that seem to come out of nowhere. Habit number 3. Frequent anger or irritability. You remember when small setbacks used to just roll off their back. The spilled coffee. The long line at the grocery store. The noisy neighbor's dog barking at all hours. Back then, they would have just chuckled, maybe shrugged it off, moved on. But now, it's different. A burnt piece of toast turns into a full-blown argument. A minor scheduling mix-up feels like a personal betrayal. A simple suggestion, like, maybe we should go for a little walk, is met with sharp words, or even silence laced with resentment. It hurts to see them like this, doesn't it? It feels like the person you once knew is slipping away, replaced by someone who's always on edge, always ready to snap. But here's what's happening behind the scenes. Aging brings so many invisible losses. Physical pain they don't always talk about. Confusion when memories get tangled. Frustration from no longer being able to do what used to be second nature. That anger? That irritability? It's not about you. It's not because they've stopped loving you. It's not because they've turned mean. It's pain talking. It's fear talking. It's the heartbreak of losing little pieces of independence, day by day. When the anger rises, your best gift is your calmness. Stay steady. Listen. Acknowledge what they're feeling, even if it doesn't seem logical in the moment. And if you can, look beneath the anger. Is it pain? Is it loneliness? Is it fear? Many times, that anger is just the outer shell. Underneath, there's a vulnerable heart still trying to hold on. And when that anger turns inward, when the fight drains out of them completely, it can show up in a way that's even harder to notice at first. Let's talk about habit number 4. Social withdrawal. You remember when they were the life of the party, don't you? The first to crack a joke, the one pulling out old family albums to tell stories no one else remembered. But now, the invitations come, and they politely decline. Or they don't answer the phone when friends call. They sit in the same chair, day after day, television buzzing in the background, more company than any human face. You tell yourself maybe they're just tired. Maybe they just want some peace and quiet. But deep down, you wonder, is it something more? And you'd be right to wonder. Because often, social withdrawal isn't about wanting solitude. It's about feeling disconnected. Sometimes it's hearing loss. Conversations become frustrating when you can't catch half the words. Sometimes it's depression creeping in like a fog, blurring their desire to engage. And sometimes, it's a deep, private fear that they don't quite fit into the world the same way anymore. Families often assume they just want to be left alone. But the truth is, many elders are quietly longing for connection, they just don't know how to ask for it anymore. The solution isn't to push. It's to gently invite. Small moments. Short visits. A simple cup of tea together. Sitting side by side in the sunshine, not even needing to say a word. Sometimes, just knowing someone wants to be with them, is enough to open the door again. And now, let's move into something a little different. A behavior that, at first glance, seems harmless, maybe even a little funny. But over time, it can quietly start to strain even the closest relationships. At first, it seems harmless enough. A small complaint here, a little grumble there. But over time, it starts to feel heavier. Every visit becomes a catalogue of aches, grievances, and regrets. The doctor doesn't listen. The neighbor's music is too loud. No one calls me anymore. It's habit number 5. Excessive complaining. You walk through the door, heart full of hope for a sweet afternoon together. But within minutes, you find yourself wading through a river of frustrations. And it hurts, because all you want is to bring some light into their day. But it feels like every attempt you make gets drowned out by another reminder of everything that's wrong. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. When the body is in constant pain. When the future feels scary and uncertain. When loneliness hangs over the room like a thick, gray cloud. Complaining becomes a way of giving those feelings a voice. It's not attention-seeking. It's not trying to drive you away. It's genuine distress, slipping out the only way they know how. And even though it's hard, even though some days it feels like you're carrying the weight of both your hearts, the best gift you can offer is your listening ear. Sit with them. Validate what they're feeling, even if you can't fix it. A simple, "that sounds really tough," can mean more than you realize. And then, little by little, try to guide the conversation toward lighter ground. Ask about a happy memory. Tell me about the old garden you used to keep. What was your favorite trip you ever took? Because even in the midst of sadness, the human heart remembers joy. Sometimes it just needs a little help finding its way back. And speaking of memories, when the past and present start to tangle in the mind, it can stir up another behavior that's as heartbreaking as it is confusing. Habit number 6. Repeating stories over and over. You sit together at the table, and before you even finish your coffee, you've heard the story of their childhood trip to the lake, for the 4th time this morning. At first, you smile politely. Then, a little frustration creeps in. You wonder, do they realize they just told me this? Memory pathways weaken as we age, especially short-term memory. Long-term memories stay vivid, while new ones fade faster than a whisper in the wind. It's not that they're not paying attention. It's not that they don't care about the conversation. Their brain is simply clinging to the memories it trusts the most. Instead of pointing it out sharply, which only leads to embarrassment, respond warmly. Add a new question, tell me more about that summer. What else do you remember? In doing that, you honor their memories, while gently guiding the conversation forward. But sometimes, the mind doesn't just wander through happy memories. Sometimes, it drifts into darker places. Habit number 7. Becoming overly suspicious or paranoid. You notice it when they accuse a caregiver of stealing. Or when they hide their purse, checking it nervously every few minutes. Brain changes can create confusion, and confusion breeds fear. When things don't make sense anymore, the mind tries to fill in the gaps, and sadly, fear often fills those blanks. It's not that they suddenly turned mean or mistrustful. It's the world around them starting to feel unfamiliar. Stay patient. Reassure them calmly. Make environments predictable, clear labels, simple routines, familiar faces. Sometimes, just being a steady, trusted presence is the greatest comfort you can give. And while fear can take hold of the mind, other times, it quietly slips into another area of life, the wallet. Habit number 8. Ignoring finances or becoming reckless with money. You might notice unpaid bills piling up, or a sudden, amazing investment opportunity they're eager to jump into. Managing finances requires a lot of cognitive effort, planning, judgment, memory. When those abilities start slipping, money decisions often suffer first. It's not greed. It's not irresponsibility. It's mental fatigue. Quietly setting traps where they least expect it. Offer help without stripping away dignity. Let's go over the bills together this month feels a lot more empowering than, you can't handle this anymore. Frame it as teamwork, not takeover. And when the world feels overwhelming, sometimes they reach out in another way, clinging tightly to the people they trust most. Habit number 9. Clinginess and fear of being alone. When are you coming back? Why didn't you call yesterday? Questions asked again and again, fueled not by neediness, but by deep, aching fear. Aging often brings a shrinking world, smaller social circles, mobility limits, health worries. And with that shrinkage comes the very real fear of being forgotten. They're not trying to guilt-trip you. They're trying to feel secure, loved, needed. Set clear expectations lovingly. Mom, I'll call you every evening after dinner, I promise. Predictability eases anxiety. And sometimes, a simple photo, a calendar note, or a daily call can calm that restless heart. But fear doesn't just cling to people. Sometimes, it clings to things. Habit number 10. Hoarding or an unwillingness to part with items. Boxes stacked high. Old magazines from decades ago. Clothes that haven't been worn since the 80s, but still hang in the closet like old friends. To them, every object holds meaning. Security. Memories. Proof that their life, every part of it, mattered. It's not just messiness or stubbornness. It's love, fear, identity, all tied to things. Be sensitive. Never start by throwing things away. Instead, invite storytelling. Tell me about this old jacket. It looks like it's been through a lot with you. Memories first, decisions second. And while physical belongings hold weight, sometimes, what gets neglected is their own well-being. Habit number 11. Neglecting medical appointments. I'm fine. I don't need to see the doctor. Sound familiar? Fear of bad news, denial of growing limitations, even simple transportation challenges, all can lead seniors to quietly skip vital healthcare. It's not just stubbornness. It's fear, masked as independence. Frame appointments as a form of empowerment, not weakness. Let's check together to make sure you're staying strong for all the adventures ahead. Empower, not pressure. And finally, perhaps the most bittersweet habit of all. Habit number 12. Overemphasizing mortality, constant talk about death and funerals. When I'm gone, make sure you use the blue dress for my funeral. Conversations that catch you off guard. Moments that leave your heart heavy, your throat tight. As the end of life feels closer, many seniors naturally turn their thoughts to legacy, preparation, and closure. They're not being morbid. They're trying, in their own way, to make peace with what's coming. Honor those conversations without rushing them away. Listen. Reassure. And remind them, softly, that today is still here. That love fills the space between every heartbeat, every shared moment. Because even when the road grows shorter, there is still so much life, so much connection, so much meaning left to be shared. Witnessing these habits can be painful. You sit there, watching the hands that once built your world now tremble over a cup of coffee. You hear the voice that once roared with laughter now repeating the same story, lost and wandering. You see the light in their eyes dim, just a little, and your heart aches in ways words can't touch. It feels like the person you once knew is slipping away, piece by piece. Like you're holding on to memories with one hand, and reaching into the unknown with the other. Sometimes it's easier to look away. To brush it off. To tell yourself, it's just a phase. But deep down, you know. These small habits are whispers. Whispers from a soul that still longs to be heard, to be seen, to be loved, just as fiercely as ever. But here's the thing, my friend. Recognizing these signs isn't about fear. It's not about mourning what's been lost. It's about opening your eyes, widening your heart, and stepping in with love, patience, and understanding. It's about seeing the human being still shining underneath the confusion, the habits, the struggles. It's about saying, I see you. I cherish you. And I'm still right here, no matter how the tides of time may turn. So tonight, if you can, pick up the phone. Send a little text. Drop by for a quick visit. Ask them about their day, even if the answer is the same as yesterday. Tell them you love them, even if they forget to say it back. Hold their hand a little longer. Laugh at the repeated story one more time. Because sometimes, the smallest gestures, the simplest acts of presence, they mean everything. Aging doesn't have to mean losing dignity. It doesn't have to mean fading quietly into the background. With a little awareness, and a whole lot of heart, we can walk this journey with them, hand in hand, soul to soul, helping them age with grace, with love, and with the honor they deserve. And isn't that what we all hope for, too, someday? Today, we walked through 12 sensitive but important habits that often go unnoticed. We talked about hygiene slipping away. About words becoming too sharp. About tempers flaring where patience once lived. And loneliness taking root in once joyful hearts. We saw how complaints, suspicion, and even obsession with the past aren't signs of giving up, but cries for help, for connection, for understanding. We uncovered how reckless spending, hoarding little treasures, and missing doctor's appointments aren't about stubbornness, they're about fear, confusion, and sometimes, pure overwhelm. And yes, we faced the hardest one, the way thoughts of mortality creep in more and more often. Each habit, each moment, each unspoken feeling. It's not just a problem to be fixed. It's an opportunity. An opportunity to meet our loved ones with compassion instead of criticism. An opportunity to stand by them even when the path feels heavy. An opportunity to show them, and ourselves, that love doesn't fade with age. It only deepens. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you seen any of these habits in someone you love? Maybe, you've noticed one or two starting to show up in yourself. It's okay. Aging touches all of us sooner or later. Drop a comment below and share your experience. You never know, your story might be the exact comfort someone else needs to hear today. And if this video resonated with you, if you believe, like I do, that every elder deserves to age with dignity, wisdom, and love, then please, subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Guide. Together, we're building a community where aging is not something to fear, but something to honor. Where experience is celebrated. Where tenderness isn't forgotten. Where every wrinkle tells a story, and every story deserves to be heard. Thank you, truly, thank you for spending this time with me today. Stay kind. Stay wise. Stay open-hearted. And until next time, take care of yourself. Take care of those you love. And remember, every moment matters.